Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Deepti. Okay. Good evening, Shubham. Any question from last class? Any question from last class? If you have any question from last class, please ask me. Good evening, Nishtha, Revati, Shubham, Deepti, everyone. Good evening. Any question? Okay. So we was doing capital market, and in capital market there is debt and equity market. Both market can be further divided into primary and secondary market. Similarly, equity market can also be divided into primary and secondary market. Okay. Good evening, everyone. So I told you we have started with the equity market, and in the equity market, first we are focusing in the primary market, right? So in the primary market, I told you about the process related to initial public offering, right? Initial public offering. Acha, before moving further, yesterday I have asked one question to you, that was stock exchange is part of primary or part of primary market, secondary market, both, none, right? So here one clarification I just want to tell you. When yesterday I have asked, my context of this question was regarding trading. Trading, which includes both selling and purchasing. So I was asking in that context, right? I was asking in that context. So if we will take this context, then answer is a secondary market. But in general, stock exchange, you can say both. So if they will ask this question in your exam, stock exchanges are part of primary market only, secondary market only, both or none, then you have to answer on both rather than secondary market only. I will explain the reason. When we say trading, selling and purchasing, both is happening simultaneously for a particular security. So particular security is being sold as well as purchased. So selling and purchasing happening at the both end, means it is happening in the market. So in that context, the secondary market. However, in the primary market, for having IPO, you have to go to the IPO, right? How this entire thing will come? When a company want to raise the money, right? Any company want to raise the money, they have three options. Either they can go to public through IPO, or they can go for right issues, or they can go for the private placement. Yesterday I have given you an idea of IPO. I will explain all these ways also, but I thought that it will be better if you know the process of IPO, then I will explain it, all these things, right? But I was going through, then I found that maybe it is going to create a confusion in your mind. So that's why I'm giving you the clarification here is stock exchange, IPO. For IPO, when any company want to issue an IPO, they must list themselves in stock exchange. They must list themselves in a stock exchange, and the process of listing, what I told you in the last class, the IPO process, I told you ki in India from 1947 to 1992 there was CCI who was regulating all these things. There was a CCI who was regulating all these things. From 1992 onwards, it was deregulated and CCI was repealed. The act was repealed and it became free. Any company can freely go for issuing of their IPOs. But when you are going to issue freely, there is a chance of being manipulated. So that's why anyone who want to issue the IPOs, initial public offering, they must satisfy the terms and conditions put forward by Securities and Exchange Board of India. So SEBI is going to put certain terms and condition. Under that terms and condition, you are free to offer the public offering. And I told you for the better public offering, so that both will be benefited. Who will be benefited? Company and investor. Both will be benefited in the better manner. That is why book building auction process was started. Book building auction process means what? Ki first, I also told you in the last class ki any market, this primary market have three constituents. One is company, which is an investor, company who is raising the fund, investor, and intermediary. I have given the example of intermediary. Can anybody tell me example of intermediary? Dheeraj, I will explain when this will come. It is not possible to explain in short. It take time, right? The entire process have to be understood. So probably it will come tomorrow's class. So don't worry. Just attend the tomorrow's class. I will explain tomorrow's class in detail. Yes. Intermediaries. So Goldman Sachs, very good. Merchant banks, primary dealers, merchant banks. Primary dealer can also be the right answer. So, so these intermediaries, they are going to build your book. In the book building process, I told you what they are going to do. In the book building process, they are going to mention each and everything. And before moving further, I just want to tell you very honestly, in the capital market, when we teach the capital market, it is not humanly possible. I'm telling you very honestly, whether you will take in the positive way or in the negative way, but I want to just tell you in the very honest manner, it is not possible for us to recall all the related terms and information all of a sudden, right? For example, Dheeraj just asked me a question and I'm able to retrieve the information, but I'm not able to retrieve information in such a manner so that I can explain you. I know what it is, But the problem is I have to explain in such a manner so that you can understand. So it's very difficult to recall and recollect all these small terms, especially in the context of capital market, because it's full of different terminologies, So that's why it is quite difficult to recall all those terms, right? So generally what I prefer to do is when I'll start explaining thoroughly, right? When I'll start explaining thoroughly, for example, I explained anchor investor. Who is an anchor investor? One is an angel investor, another is an anchor investor. So angel investor is a different thing and anchor investor is a different thing. So how you are able to understand the different type of the investors? So wherever they will come, means wherever they are more relevant. So at the time of initial public offering, the role of anchor investor is very important, especially for small size companies or mid size companies, not like blockbuster companies, right? Like a big company like LIC, anchor investor is not required. But though even in the case of LIC also, government is not going to take a single chance. They will put the anchor investor there, and government himself is going to be the anchor investor probably, right? So sometimes these terminologies I am not able to recall. Maybe somebody is able to recall and explain you, that's fine, but I do not go with that way. I always prefer to explain in the thorough manner. So sometimes maybe you are going to ask something, especially in the case of capital market, and I will say this. The reason is what I am not able to recall in such a manner so that I can explain you. So this is the primary reason, and secondary reason is I always feel that things should be make you means whatever I am going to explain you, I should explain in such a manner so it is going to be imprinted in your mind, so that whenever you need, you can recall on your own. Okay, so this is the thing. Good evening, banks, merchant banks, Vikulp. Okay, so I hope you got my position. But be never shy to ask the question. Please ask as many as questions you can, because it's always help us also to make self better and better. And if we will get better, then definitely you will be benefited more. So never shy to ask the question. Please ask the question. थोड़ा बहुत ज्यादा क्या होगा, गुस्सा आएगा तो डांट दूंगा यार, तो डांट दूंगा तो थोड़ा तो मेरी डांट खा सकते हो, ऐसी क्या बात है, ठीक है? And today I'm not feeling very well. I have cold and light fever, so maybe I'm not able to continue, but I will try to complete the class. If it is not possible, then I will wind up the class abruptly. Abruptly means I will announce that I'm going to wind up the class. Okay, so I was telling you about three constituents of a primary market. They are what? They are the who is going to raise the fund, right? The fundraiser. Second is investor, and third is intermediary, right? So intermediary is going to play a very important role in book building through the auction process. Through the auction process means what? They are going to try to figure it out how much price of IPO should be there, right? How much price of IPO should be there? All these things they are going to figure it out, right? And once they will figure it out, they will submit the proposal to SEBI. SEBI either can accept or they can return the proposal with reason. Whenever SEBI is going to say no, SEBI must provide the reason why you are refusing, right? Why you are refusing, you must give the reason, right? But generally, it's going to be the embarrassment for a company. So before going to approach to SEBI for getting a consent to launch the IPO, companies generally do all the paperwork so that their offering process of IPO cannot be rejected by the SEBI, right? So they will present their book building to the SEBI, and SEBI is going to approve that draft. And after that, they means the intermediary prepare the red herring prospectus. I explained you what is the red herring prospectus. In the red herring prospectus, the company through their merchant bank, they are going to show why, how, and for what purpose, right? Their purpose, right? What is their purpose? Why they are raising the fund, right? What is company's vision, right? What areas we are going to focus in the future? What are the company's future prospect, current prospect? All these things they are going to mention under the red herring prospectus. And red herring prospectus will come to the public domain, right? So red herring prospectus will come to the public domain. This is an official kind of text document. Apart from this text document, right, that merchant bank through the company, they are also going to do the advertisements in the newspapers, leading financial newspapers or all national dailies. They are going to present the advertisement, right? They will present their advertisement. We are going to offer this, right? Apart from that, companies sometimes go to the road shows, like different places, commercial places. They are going to do the advertisement ki this is why we are coming for the public. So all these things they do for the purpose of what? For the purpose of being known among the investors. So the term known is as road shows. So road shows process is related to what? Related to initial public offering. So kind of the question ki the term roadshow in capital market is associated with which of the following process, right? If we can make the question in such a way, which of the following process is associated with the roadshow? Answer will be what? IPOs, right? So IPO process. अरे इतना दिल पे नहीं लेते भाई. Vikul, don't take it in so seriously. Right? I don't mind the things. Even if I mind the things and somebody will come back again and just have a chit chat with me, I never mind it. I'm not kind of the person कि माँ कसम एकदम मन में भर लिया अब तो तुमसे बदला लेंगे. नागिन अपना बदला भूल सकती है लेकिन हम नहीं. I do not come under that category. I always come in the category of that person, especially being as a teacher. Right, especially being as a teacher, I have a different personality at personal level, but as a teacher I always have this thing in my mind, okay, even if I got if I feel bad or whatever I said you, I forgot, right? So don't take it too much, okay? Yesterday you have mentioned about the anchor investor. Anchor investor also comes under the public issue. Yes. Anchor investor is a part of public issuing process. Anchor investor is already means they also come in a different way, but anchor investor are also part of this process. At the time of issuing the IPO, when company is going to issue the IPO, okay, when company is going to issue the IPO, before issuing of IPO, for example, good example, somebody want to for example, recently election happened, right? And before election is going to happen, the candidate must have to file its nomination, right? So candidate must have filed its nomination. So for example, a prominent person like Yogi Adityanath, he is going to file his nomination. So who is accompanying him? Who is going to accompany him, right? So if many prominent people, for example, you are going to fight election in your home state or wherever, and you have to file nomination tomorrow, and you found that tomorrow Rahul Gandhi, Prime Minister Modi, Amit Shah, and other prominent leader are accompanying you, right, at the time of filing of nomination. So automatically you will get a lot of weight. Everybody is going to stun. Oh my God, he is going to be endorsed by whom? He is going to be endorsed by the Prime Minister. Right. So you are being endorsed. So similarly, anchor investor is going to do what? Anchor investor at the time of IPO, when the company is going to offer its IPO, anchor investor. Right. Company is not well known. I have given you the example of Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. So Star Health is going for public. And here, who is the anchor investor? Here, the anchor investor is one of the big bull in Indian capital market, that is Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. right? So he is a kind of what he has promised ki I will be the investor in the Star Health for next 2 to 3 years minimum, right? So anchor investors are always part of what? Always part of this public offering. I hope this point is clear. Notification is out. Notification is out. Somebody, I think Vivek has sent me the notification, but that notification do not have the most important part for which I am waiting. That is the syllabus part. The syllabus part is missing. Somebody have taken the PDF of upcoming employment news advertisement, and in that advertisement they have mentioned about the recruitment, but that recruitment notification do not have the most important part, that is the syllabus, in which I'm keenly interested, right? So that missing, that advertisement is missing, and on 28th we will get the detailed notification in the RBI website. Then I'll discuss with you about that. Okay, Vikul. Preferential issue, I will explain here. First, let this process will be completed, right? Preferential issue is here. I will explain, and then I will also provide the comparison between the anchor investor's role here and anchor investor role here. The role of anchor investor here and the role of anchor investor here, I will compare. I will compare, but try to understand right now here only. Okay. Acha. Okay. So red herring prospectus will come in the public domain, and through red herring prospectus, public will get the information about upcoming IPO details, right? Then IPO will be available in the market, right? When IPO will come in the market, right? Initially, there will be one base price, right? There will be one base price, and you have to bid for it. Suppose that base price is 250, right? So you have to make a bid. You have to make a bid that should be either 250 or 250 plus whatever the amount you want to quote, a number of shares you want, you have to quote it, right? So once you will quote, right, your bid finally is going to close, and when the bid is going to close, it is going to be analyzed by company under the supervision of SEBI, and then they will make the announcement that this is the final price, and on this final price we are going to do what? We are going to accept those bids and we will allocate the shares. This process will happen. However, during that process there is an option of, once you are going to do what? Bid will open, base price is supposed at 250, and you have bid for that. So you have bidded for that, and finally that is going to close. That is going to close, and shares are going to be allocated. While allocating the shares, company have an option. Company have an option for going to avoid that green shoe option. Company have this ability, means company have this thing, they can go for green shoe option. What is green shoe? Harajuta, what is green shoe option? Can anybody want to explain? Anybody is interested to explain what is green shoe option? huge buy, right to sell more shares than originally planned. Okay, good. Some shares reserved by the investor for booking to make up losses in the IPO. Okay, that is also true. Because that is an option. That is an option. Right. Okay. So anyone? Anyone else? Okay, fine. So in the green shoe option, company when the bid is closed and shares have to be allocated. Shares have to be allocated. Right. Just give me a second. Okay. So now bid is closed and company is going to allocate the share. At that point of time, company have an option to go for what? Green shoe option. What is green shoe option? Under this green shoe option, company can offer up to 15% equity. Up to 15% equity apart from what they have offered under the IPO. Suppose that in the IPO they have offered 20%, they can go for additional 15%. They can go for additional 15% under the green shoe option. But that must be done within 30 days limit. That must be done within 30 days limit. Right? That must be done within 30 days. Otherwise, it is going to be closed. Right? It is going to be closed. So actually, why the green shoe option is being created? So suppose that there is a huge good response, and both company and investors, are interested to raise more fund, right? And another thing, for example, company has allocated the shares, right? Company has allocated the shares, suppose that 10% equity. 10% equity they have offered, or 20% ही ले लेते हैं, वो example से. 20% equity was offered initially, right? And 20% equity they have offered in the market at the price of how much? At the price of 250 rupees, right? 250 each share. 250 each share, right? And that 20% shares they have divided into how much? 20% they have divided into, suppose that 200 crore. shares. So 20% equity is equal to 200 crore shares. Okay, each share having the price of 250 rupees. And there is a huge demand of that shares in the market, right? This is the huge demand. So if it is a huge demand, what will happen? If there is a huge demand of these shares in the market, so when they are going to listed, they are going to listed in stock exchange, right? And suppose that A have 100 shares, 100 shares allocated to person A, right? Under the bidding process, he got 100 shares, right? And in the stock exchange on Monday morning, he is having this plan in his mind ki, okay, I will sell my 100 shares. I will sell my 100 shares because there is a huge demand in the market. So maybe I can sell that share at the price of 500 rupees. I can sell the price at 500 rupees, right? But that all of sudden demand is going to be cool off in next few days. So initially it will shoot up and then it is going to down. So because of huge demand, artificial rise in the price of share going to be there, and that artificial rise of the price of the share, and then it is going to cool off. Suppose that it will be shoot up to 500, then again in 3-4 days or 4-5 days again it will come to how much? 300 rupees. So the investor who is going to purchase at 500, after 4-5 days the price will decrease to 300, right? So the problem is the investors are going to lose. So to avoid this kind of the fluctuation, in case of huge demand, in case of huge demand, to avoid such kind of fluctuations, what company can do? Company can go for green shoe option, so that the price stability of the share when it is going to be listed in the stock exchange for the purpose of secondary market selling and purchasing, in that case price will be relatively stable, right? And when the price rises of particular share, or in the share market price is rising of the equities, we will call it as a bull market. We call it as a bull market. So if market is bullish, if market is bullish for that purpose, then company can do this green shoe option, and it is going to benefit both. Benefit both means company is going to get more funds, whereas the artificial huge demand is going to be satisfied by company itself. So price are not going to shoot up from 250 to 500 in such a manner, right? Because additional shares are going to be available, so there is no artificial scarcity of the shares which may causes unnecessary and artificial rise in the price of the shares in the secondary market. So in that way you can stabilize the price, right? Another thing, suppose that what you have expected, you have expected that the price will rise, right? You have expected price will rise, but what is happening, what is happening here? Price of 250 was the price, but on Monday it starts decreasing, it starts decreasing, which may further decrease the morale of the investors. So here under green shoe option, company also have this right to buy back those shares. Company can offer ki, okay, those who want to give it us back at the price of 250, we are ready to purchase it. We are ready to purchase it. If you want to offer back us at the price of 250, we can take it. Now it's your call. Being as an investor, it's your call. You have to analyze ki this kind of the downfall is temporary or permanent. This kind of the downfall is temporary or permanent. For example, few months back, what happened with respect to the IRCTC? For IRCTC, it is a listed company in the market. So IRCTC shares starts suddenly dipping, right? They started dipping. Why they started the value of the price of the IRCT shares start dipping? Because government has announced that ki particular profitability must be under the GST and must be shared with the government also. That means RBI IRCT's net profitability is going to decrease, and that's why their share prices start decreasing, right? Their share prices start decreasing. So one of my friend who invest in this share market, and he just have a discussion with me, not for this purpose. We was having a general discussion. Even I was unaware ki he is also investing in the share market. So he just told me that कि यार ये गवर्नमेंट भी ऐसी तैसी कर रखी है. मैंने कहा what happened? यार I have invested and now the price is decreasing. I told him कि purchase more shares at low price. He said why? I said purchase it because the price of the IRCT is going to rise. He said no. Why it will rise? Recently government has made this statement. I told him कि government is going to roll it back. Government is going to roll it back because government do not want any company which government see as a prospect, right? So government do not want at the time of LIC's IPO, government do not want to create any kind of bad impact or bad name of any government company. So in within few days you can see the rollback and then the price will rise. He just casually told me कि if I am going to lose, I will take it from you. I said okay, fine, I will give you the difference. But if you are going to make a gain, then I will take the difference. He said okay, fine. So he invested further 30,000 rupees in that IRCT shares, and he almost made somewhere around, I do not exactly remember, but he made the profit. He made the profit, and he told me that when we will come to Delhi, we will have a grand party for that. So here you have to apply your mind. Here you have to apply your mind, and that's why those who are able to apply the sharp mind and understanding of the government policies, market position, current scenario, all these things, who are able to understand it properly, right? They make huge amount of money. किसी ने सोचा था कि सैनिटाइजर बनाने वाली कंपनी जो है वो उतना प्रॉफिट कमा पाएगी? Nobody have even imagined that. But see now those companies who are making all these products, right? So sometimes it is unexpected, sometimes it is widely calculated, right? So here when company is going to offer you, when the market is bearish market means the price of shares is decreasing. So under the green shoe option, company can offer you ki, okay, if you are not interested, you can sell it at the price of 250 rupees. That is the benchmark price. We are ready to accept it. So in that way, green shoe option is always going to manage the demand and supply when company is going to list its share in the market, right? सर गर्म पानी पी लीजिए, डोलो 650. डोलो 650 तो हमारे नेशनल मतलब दवा हो गई है. So green shoe option is clear. Green shoe option is clear. Okay. Acha. For green shoe option, I told you कि the entire process in the market, especially in the primary market, there are three people. One is company which is looking for funds, right? And second is intermediary, and third is investor. Okay, so intermediary like merchant bank, right? So merchant bank, especially when market is bearish, when market is going to be bearish, then company have to suppose that the share price is how much? 235. Market is bearish. Company has put himself in the market. Company is listed, and now the price of share of this company within 3 days. Within 3 days, the share price went down to 235. Right now, company is going to offer under green shoe option ki okay, we are ready to take it back. We are ready to take it back. But if you are going to ready to take it back, you have to face the loss of how much? 15 rupees, because market price is 235 and you are going to pay how much? You are going to pay how much? 250. Now here the decision is very crucial कि whether company is going to offer that thing or not. For example, in case of Paytm, Paytm didn't offer that thing. Paytm has not offered such kind of the thing. People are expecting that Paytm maybe go for this kind of the offering, but Paytm didn't went for such kind of the offer. Shares stalled decreasing, but Paytm didn't came with such kind of the offer under the green shoe. They said that they was keep mum. They are not speaking anything on this issue. The prices are decreasing, but they have not make any statement on this regard. Right? But if you are going to do that, you need a fund. You need a fund because you have to bear the loss. To bear the loss, you must have a fund. So when the intermediary merchant bank is doing the process of book building, at the time of book building, what merchant bank is going to do? At the time of book building, what is the time of book building? Before the share IPO is going to hit the market. Before the IPO is going to hit the market, the merchant bank will ask the company. Do you want to establish a stabilization fund? Do you want to go for stabilization fund? And if yes, then how much? Or merchant bank himself can put the advice. You see, for the safer side and to make your name in the market in the proper manner, it is better to go for what? Stabilization fund. Right? Go for the stabilization fund. That is going to be good for your company's image. Right? So that stabilization fund is created by the company and merchant bank is going to do this process. So this is why stabilization fund is handled by stabilization agent. Who is a stabilization agent? Merchant bank. Right. For example, in case of LIC, government has given the task to 10 merchant bank. 10 merchant bank was hired by the government to create a book building process. So out of these 10 merchant bank, maybe a particular merchant bank is going to be the stabilization agent as a stabilization agent, and some stabilization fund can be put there, and through that fund, if something will be like bearish, then we can do that thing. Right? So for example, the good example is Tata. So when Tata first time offered their shares of TCS, Tata Consultancy Services, TCS, when they have offered these shares, so they announced that they was listed with their IPO, and after being listed in the IPO, they have made this announcement that we have created a stabilization fund in case of any other investor is going to lose their money because of fall in the price. We will take it back. So this is why TCS shares are highly priced and generally investors do not trade it. If somebody is going to get it, they will hold it because they feel that whatever the public sector bank they are giving in the FD, the better return we are going to get by holding the shares of TCS. So similarly, like Tesla. So if Tesla is making good amount of profit, why the Tesla shareholders are going to sell their shares? Until unless they are going to get the better deal than that. If they are not going to get the better deal than that, they are going to hold the shares. right? So sometimes there are certain investors who go to the secondary market, just do the cherry picking. They pick the cherry and they will hold it, and they will hold it till then company is going to do the business good way, they are going to have it. So most probably those investors who are in their 45 or in 60s, they are investors and they see this opportunity with long term prospect, they do invest in such kind of the companies. They will purchase the shares and they will hold it till then they want to hold it, right? So I hope the stabilization agent, stabilization fund, what is green shoe option, bullish and bearish market, how it is work in the case of uh, this green shoe option. So IPO related all these things I have cleared here. I hope things are better, clear and coherent right now than earlier. If you agree with me, let me know so that I can move forward. It is always optional. It is not mandatory. It is not mandatory. It is always an optional. You are not being forced to go for it. Nobody can force you. Okay. Now, if IPO is clear, then I am coming back to this position. There is a company, and this company need what? Need funds for their long-term capital requirement. Long-term capital requirement. So they have two options. Either they can go for raising option number one is through raising debt through selling of equity. So company need a fund for long-term requirement. If they need a short-term requirement, they can go to where? They can go to the money market. But if they need fund for the long-term requirement, they will go to the capital market. Sir, in the stabilization fund only works in the IPO, or it can continue for the further selling of the shares. No, Jyoti, stabilization fund is for the green shoe option. And this green shoe option is available only 30 days from listing of IPO in stock exchange. So this is not permanent. This is not permanent. It is only for a certain time. Okay. So company need a fund. Either they can go for raising debt or they can go for equity. Company have four choices. Only one, only two, both, or none. None means ki you are going to be remain same position. You are not going to raise any fund. Only one means you are going to raise the fund requirement through the debt only. Only two means you are going to sell the equity. Both means some amount can be raised through debt and some amount can be raised through sale of equity. Right? So if you have decided to go for what? If you have decided to go for, because we are here to learn, so that's why I will create an option ki what company is going to take the call. Suppose that company has taken the call, they will go for only second option. Means they will raise the fund through sales of equity. So they are going to raise the fund with the sales of their equity. So this is finally decided by the company. They are not going to raise the debt, they are going to sell their equity. So now when you are ready with your decision, now you have to sell your equities. This is the decision has been taken by the company. Now what options you have? You have these options. Either you can go to public. If you will go to public, if you will go to public, right? If you will go to public, one option is available for you, that we will call it as what? That we'll call it as a initial public offering, which I have already explained you in a detail. That means when company decided to go for sale of what? Company decided to go for sale of equity. Company has decided to go for sale of equity. They can directly offer to public offering, and the public offering, the primary way of public offering is initial public offering. Initial public offering means what? You are going to sell the equity of your company. Listen very carefully. You are, what is public issue? Public issue, as it is mentioned here, there are two types. One is IPO and another is what? Another is FPO. So what IPO means? IPO means that company is going to offer their equity first time to public directly. Public means any Tom, Dick and Harry or any person who want to purchase, they can purchase, right? Without any discrimination, it is going to be available for everyone, right? However, in order, in order to boost morale of those investors who are interested to purchase the shares, they are interested to purchase the shares, but they have some apprehension because they are having no idea about you. You are going to enter first time, right? So that's why to create a confidence among the investors, create a confidence among the investors, you are going to come up with whom? You are going to come up with anchor investor. So here the purpose of having anchor investor is not just to get a fund. The main objective of having an anchor investor here is to boost the morale of the investor. This is the main objective of having anchor investor here, right? Okay. So you have offered, suppose that as we have taken the example, 20% equity is already offered. Now, after some point of time, company again want to offer 10% of their equity. So when next time, after first time, if you want to go back again to public and offer more shares, then we will call it as a what? Follow on public offering. In comparison to initial public offering, the process is not so exhaustive and cumbersome, though you have to satisfy certain terms and conditions again. But that process is not going to be such an extensive, cumbersome, and exhaustive process what you have already seen in the process of IPO. So if somebody is going to ask what is FPO, FPO means what? Company is going to offer the shares holding of their company again to public. After first time, when you will offer second time, third time, eighth time, 100 times, whatever. After first time, if company is again going to public, then it is known as FPO, follow on public offering. Yes, yes, very good. Vikulp, CET Express. CET Express. Any particular reason for this name? CET Express. Means if you want to share, that's fine. Otherwise, no issues. But on Telegram, the most interesting thing I love to see in the Telegram, many times I will go to the Telegram, just see how innovative people are. Right? They have different name and analogies, and I really enjoy it by while seeing the name, the innovation kind of the thing, or the creativity. Not innovation; it will be better known as creativity. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's little bit sad. People write those things. That is quite interesting, and you are remain being what anonymous. So this is the great thing of what. Sir, company promoter की percentage holding भी clear कर दीजिएगा. हाँ. I'll sir CT exam. अच्छा. ओके अच्छा ओके सीटी एग्जाम के लिए सर इन कंपनी प्रमोटर्स की परसेंटेज होल्डिंग हाँ आई विल क्लैरिफाई बट what exactly amount is right now, because what happened generally, what we do is we do not go for exact figure or data. Why? Because here the data and things are keep changing, right? So what I thought, what happened. Hmm. Is I'm back right now? Because something happened and sharing was stopped. Yes, please confirm me. Is I'm available? Okay. So okay. So public issue is clear. One is initial public offering and follow-on public offering. Generally, in the follow-on public offering, you need not to have an anchor investor. Right? There is no need for anchor investor, because anchor investor is a kind of investor who means you need that investor at the time of initial public offering. Now, the second way is the right issues. The right issue is an offer of sale of securities to existing shareholders. Whosoever is your shareholder, you can offer more shareholding to him. For example, in the case of Bharat Pay, suppose that Bharat Pay is going to offer additional 10% shares to Anish Grover. It is highly impossible, but if you are going to offer shares to existing shareholders, right, then it is known as what? Right issues. And right issues is applicable for both listed and unlisted companies. Acha, what do you think? Is SEBI is going to allow, if Bharat Pay will decide ki okay, we are going to sell 10% further share to Anish Grover, do you think SEBI will allow this process? SEBI is not going to allow. SEBI is not going to allow. SEBI is not going to allow. Ghar ki kheti thodi na hai. Means it's not like a family affair, right? You can't do that thing. You can't do that thing. And Anish Grover is not a first person who is being thrown out from the management. Even in the past, the biggest name like Steve Jobs, he was also being thrown out from his company. He is a founder of that company, but at a point of time, he was also being thrown out from the company, Steve Jobs. So it doesn't matter. So sometimes people create as an emotion what Anish Grover is doing right now. Ki I was the founder of the company, I have founded this company. Fine, you have founded this company. You have founded this company, but after having the foundation of that company, you can't do such kind of the things. Things like what? Misappropriating the fund of a company where the public money is being there, right? So it is not a kind of emotional thing. You can go to the public and say that, you see, that was my brainchild. I have established this company, and now these people are doing injustice with me. It is not possible, because maybe you have put the idea, but while putting that idea in a remuneration, right, means money making idea. So that was an idea, then you want to convert that idea in the money making idea, right? So for that, you have established a company, and now you want to earn more. You want to earn more, you can put your money, but rather than putting your money at risk, you have taken the money of public, so that public as well as you can make more money. So now here it is not just about you, but it is also about the investors who have invested their money. So you cannot do whatever you think or whatever you feel. You must take only a rational decisions. And if your decisions are not rational, then you can be thrown out of your company. Like in past, Steve Jobs was also being thrown out of his company, right? Because his ideas are too radical, and too much demanding for the purpose of funding and all. So board feel that he's incompetent for company, and he's unnecessarily diverting the resources and all. That's why he was thrown out from the company. Later on, you was inducted, and then you have changed the entire the destiny of the apple. Bharat Pay is not listed company, but it doesn't matter. You are bound the Company Act, na? You are bound by the Company Act. And when I say public, right, the common investor. However, under the Company Act, Bharat Pay right now, Bharat Pay is having the employees. right? Bharat Pay having the employees, and for those employees, companies contributing in their Provident Fund, right? So you are a company and you must have to act as a responsible company. You should not do the Tughlaq Shahi, right? You cannot do the Tughlaq Shahi. Your decisions must be rational, right? And that's why the board is being created. Board is being there and voting is there, right? Because you should not take such an irrational or erratic decision, or you cannot divert the funds, right? Investors funds cannot be diverted. For example, maybe Bharat Pay is not a public, okay, but maybe in the Bharat Pay some provident fund, like Canadian Provident Fund or any country's Provident Fund, or maybe your country's Provident Fund, or some kind of the hard earned money of the people, they are going to put their money at the investment fund, and that investor is investing in your company. So directly or indirectly, you are responsible to the many people. So that is why you should not take such kind of rational decision, right? So this is why Company Act is made in such a way a single person, doesn't matter he is a founder or what, right? He cannot take the irrational decisions which can hurt the entire company. And if one company, if Bharat Pay is going to down, it is going to what? It is going to mingle the image of entire fintech in India. You don't see the impact. The impact is big. If there will be problem in the Bharat Pay like company, it is going to question mark the ability of Indian fintech. You are looking to drive the fintech all over the world through your innovative UPI payment system, which recently Nepal has opted, right? So you want to establish a credibility ki our payment system are better than your payment system like Visa and Mastercards and such kind of the payment system. You are going to lead the world. You are supposed to lead the world. But if you are going to create such an example of nonsense things, then who is going to accept you? Nobody is going to accept you. So that's why we must have to establish a best standards, right? We must have to establish a best standards. I hope what I was trying to explain is clear right now. So, right issues, you can go for what? Right issues if already a person is having the shareholding. For example, through IPO. Through IPO, you have given the shareholding to some people, right? Now you want to come up with the right issue. You want to come up with the right issue. So, right issue. So, first company went for IPO. Company went for IPO, and when company was going for an IPO, company was little bit scared. They have this thing in their mind ki whether public is going to accept it or not. But those investors who was taking the risk first time, right? They have taken the risk. They have shown their confidence in a company. So company is obliged, or company feel that ki those investors who have given me a fund, so I feel that ki first they must get this opportunity to have more shares. So company, rather than going for FPO, company maybe go for what? Right issues, and say that ki those who are already shareholder of a company, they can purchase the further shares. So in this way, listed company will go for right issues. Clear? What about unlisted company? Suppose that a company A is having four shareholders, or sorry, three shareholders. Suppose M, N, and O, right? M, N, and O. M have 50%, N have 25%, and O have 25%. Now M want to sell his 10%. So M is saying that okay, I can offer you 5%, or if any of you interested to purchase 10%, I can offer you. So when a company is going to offer their shareholding to their existing shareholder, then we will call it as a right issue. And right issues of two type. One is for the already listed company. Listed company means what? They are already listed in the market through IPOs. They are listed in the market and those shares are going to be offered to existing shareholders. Whosoever is holding the share, only then they are going to get this opportunity to purchase it. We will call it as a right issue. Okay, now the private placement. Private. So whenever we will say the private, that means we have a discretion. It's a private property. It's a private property. It's a private property. What it means that if you are entering at some place, if you are entering at some place and the board is mentioned there, it's a private property. So it means that it automatically means that you cannot enter without the permission of the owner. So owner of the firm have certain rights, right? And for exercising those rights, he can take certain decisions on his discretion, but that discretion should not be kind of what it is going to hurt the company's sentiment. So SEBI is watching. SEBI is watchful eyes even on the private placement. But I just want to let you know what private means. Private means कि I have more discretion. When I will go for public, right? So anybody, any Indian public can go for it, right? It doesn't matter of which state or which religion or whatever. You cannot choose. You cannot choose as a company. But when we will go for the private placement, we have certain right to choose to whom we are going to give it exclusively, right? So then this come under the private placement. So first private placement is for unlisted companies. Unlisted companies means they are not the shareholders, means they are not in the market. Unlisted means they have not went for the IPO and all. So for them we are going to discuss, that is direct sale of securities to some selected people or the financial institutions. Anyone want to give an example? Very popular in the recent days, this kind of the private placement option. Some selected people. Are you getting the hint? Some selected people. You can offer your shares to some selected people. Do you have any example in your mind? What is happening at Shark Tank? Shark Tanks में क्या होता है? What has happening there? Entrepreneurs who have their own company, they go to some investors, they put their idea in front of them, and the offer is being made by those investors, right? But it is up to the person who is being as an entrepreneur to accept the offer of any or all or particular, right? So when you are free and freely you are going to offer your equity to some prominent person or particular person or even in a financial institution, then you can call it as what? You can be called it as a private placement. Okay, private placement. So Warren Buffett, right? Warren Buffett, what he will do actually, he is more interested in that kind of the work. He is going to listen your idea, right? He is going to listen your idea, and after listening your idea, if he feel that okay, your company is promising, he will invest his money in your company as an equity shareholder. He will take some equity of your company and he will put his money in your company, right? And then after few years when company is going to grow and you are going to be listed publicly, he is going to make huge amount of money. No, no. Angel investor is not a kind of Shark Tank, right? Angel investor is a kind of investor who is more optimistic. Who is more optimistic? Though yes, their idea is what? Their idea is to make the money, right? Their idea is to make the money, but actually angel investor is a kind of investor who is more interested in your growth. He is more interested in your growth rather than just having a profit motive. Shark Tanks were there, they are having only one idea in their mind. That idea is what? To make the profit. Whereas when we say the angel investor have both aspects, to help you, right? To help you, plus to do what? To do the business. So if you will see the Shark Tanks, so sometimes they show this, they fight on this issue ki bhai, what I am going to do, I am going to provide you the business, I'm not going to help you, I'm going to create a business for you. Why? Because through your business I am going to create a money for you and me. So this is the kind of Shark Tank thinking. But when they say that ki, okay, we have the patience, even your company is going in the loss, doesn't matter, we will help you, right? Then it is a kind of angel investor. Though if you will see in the common parlance, the definition is almost same. What Shark Tanks are doing and what the angel investor actually do, they have more similarity. But one minor difference is what? When the angel investor is there, he is more optimistic. He is more optimistic about you and your company. His not solo objective is to make the profit. Here, when the private placements are being there, in the private placement, the solo objective is what? To make money. Yes, yes. Ratan Tata, like TCS chairman and Chandrasekharan, lot of these people. So Ratan Tata will never go to this Shark Tank. People like Ratan Tata is not kind of the he want to go to the Shark Tanks, right? They are not there. Shark Tanks are basically what? Why they are known as a shark? Why they are known as a shark? The simple reason is what? They are driven by the profit motive, right? They are driven by the profit motive. Sometimes these development banks, some development banks, they also work as an angel investor, right? They can also work as an angel investor. So their objective is not to make the profit. So seed investor, seed investor, angel investor. So seed investor is what? Seed investor is going to encourage you. Okay, start the business. I'm going to give you the money to start the business because this field is untapped, and for this field I'm going to provide you the funds so that you can start your business. That is a seed investor. Angel investor is what? Angel investor is going to give you the confidence ki, okay, you can go ahead. I am looking for your growth and development, but I'm also profit motive driven, right? I'm also profit motive driven. And when you will go for what? Private placement. When you will go for the private placement, then it is what? Then the private placement is kind of the placement who is looking for the profits, right? Means we do not have to knock at their door, they will themselves show up. You can say that, but you have to make your presence, na? You have to make your presence. So it's not like kind of the ego thing, they will come and you will not go. It's not nothing like that. It's like that ki, okay, if you feel that ki my idea is good idea, and maybe it is not having the immediate so much monetary making profit objective, but it's a good idea, then you can also go for it. But without helping the company to grow, they cannot earn the money. So it is obvious that they have to help these entrepreneurs. Obviously, see, you are not getting the point. The point is कि I am only profit driven. I am only profit driven and I'm not looking anything else. Right. I'm not looking anything else. I am here in the Shark Tank and I am here for the purpose of to invest somewhere where there is an opportunity for mutual growth. You will grow, I will grow. Right. With my money, you will grow. So that's why I need some equity so that I can also make the profits. Right. So I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to help you. I am giving my money to you so that you can use that money. When we say the angel investor is more having more risk taking capability. If it is a private placement like Shark Tanks, so what they are going to do, they will be driven by profit. If they will see that there is a little bit more risk, they will say no, we are not going to see that. But angel investor is having some appetite ki okay, even some initial phases, if you are going to fail, we will try to cover it up. We will try to cover it up. We will give you the more chances. Right? So that is angel investor. इसीलिए तो उसको angel बोल रहे हैं ना. That's why they are angels. So what we expect from the angel? Help. Help me. Right? So this is what angel investor. Okay. Now the preferential issue. Preferential issue is what? Allotment of shares to some selected group of person in terms of provision of chapter 14 of SEBI DIP guidelines. Preferential issues. Preferential issues and private placement. What they are saying? Allotment of the shares to some selected group of person in terms of what? In terms of chapter 6 provision. So if you will see the private placement and preferential issue. Here what they are saying, unlisted companies, direct sale of the securities to some selected companies or the people or the financial institution. So it is for what? It is for unlisted companies. Whereas the preferential issues for the listed companies. Listed, if you are a listed company, then you cannot go in such kind of the private placements. Right, you have to go for preferential issues, and for that preferential issues you must follow the exhaustive guidelines given by whom? Exhaustive guidelines given by SEBI in the chapter 14 of SEBI Act DIP guidelines. Right, but here there is no need to discuss. There is no need to discuss such a lengthy guidelines because it's not going to work for you. But maybe at a point of time there is a need of discussion. Why? Suppose that if SEBI is going to change some guidelines for the purpose of preferential issue, right? And maybe that is going to be in the news. So you must know what preferential issue means. You must know what preferential issue is means. Preferential issue means when a company want to sell their equity to selected group of individuals, right, as a listed company, then we will call it as a preferential issue. And these selected group of person, they generally come in the category of anchor investors. So here anchor investor is investing, right? They are going to help the company, right? To help the company to do the business and raise the fund directly. They are going to put their money. Here what anchor investor is doing? Anchor investor is boosting the morale of other investor. Here anchor investor is putting his money directly. Here he is also putting his money. In the initial public offering, he is also putting the money. But here what is the objective? The objective is to boost the morale of other investor. Here anchor investor is not going to boost the morale of other investor because he himself only going to put his money in that firm. Right? And the third category is qualified institutional placements. Right. So what is Qualified institutional pay placements. I have another PDF. I'll show you and explain you with that PDF. Just give me a second. Where it is. Can foreign investors invest in the IPO? If he's registered with the SEBI, he can do that thing as a qualified investors. Right. In the IPO, they can participate, but with the permission of SEBI. Generally, SEBI do not allow. In certain cases or special cases, maybe SEBI can allow. In general, SEBI do not allow, because for the foreign institutional investors, there is a separate route, that is QIB. Okay. So, qualified institutional buyers are those investors who are generally perceived to possess expertise and financial muscle to evaluate and invest in the capital market. What it means that? See the lines. Possess expertise, financial muscle, right? To evaluate and invest in the capital market. So, qualified institutional buyer, being as a qualified institutional buyer, you must have the sound knowledge of the capital market in terms of what investments. You must have good financial backing, and you have an ability to understand and evaluate the capital market. Only then you will be classified as qualified institutional buyers. In short, it is known as QIB. Okay, you will be called as QIB. So, according to SEBI, there are the list of these people who have this ability, means who are QIB. So, this is the list who are being part of QIB. Public finance institutions, as defined in Section 4A's of Company Act, that means public financial institution. So, do NABARD come under this category, public finance institution? Answer please. Answer. Is NABARD is public finance institution? NABARD is not a public finance institution. Why? Why NABARD is not a public finance institution? Because NABARD do not directly deals with the public. But it doesn't mean that being as a public financial institution, you must have to directly deal with the public. Is it mandatory for the public finance institution to directly deal with the public? Is it mandatory for them to directly deal with the public? So what? Deepak Pandey is saying that it is a refinancing agency. So what? It's a refinancing agency. So being as a refinancing agency, how you cannot be the public finance institution? You are financing through what? You are financing through RRBs. You are financing through regional rural banks. You are financing through the cooperative banks. So refinancing, being as a refinancer, it is not means where it is written being as a refinancer you cannot be a public financial institution. Answer itself mentioned in this statement. Answer already here. The question which I have raised, answer is already written here, but you are not able to see it. Answer is already here. And I already highlighted the answer. Arey nalaiko, what is mentioned here? Public finance institutions as defined as Section 4A of the Company Act. NABARD is a developmental institution and it do not come under the category of Company Act. Okay. NABARD not required to be registered under the Company Act. It's a developmental institution. Okay. तुम लोग मेंटोस खा के पढ़ाई किया करो. Scheduled commercial banks. Scheduled commercial banks. So public financial institutions, see that's why they have written here, na? Public financial institution as defined. Public financial institutions as defined in Section 4A of Company Act 1956, right now Company Act 2013. What it means that NABARD is a public financial institution. That is true. But here we cannot put NABARD. Why? Because here they are saying that those public financial institutions can be qualified institutional buyers who come under this category. So their public finance institutions have diversified profile. There are the different type of the institutions who come under the category of public finance institution. So they are saying that all public financial institutions do not come under the category of qualified institutional buyers. Only those public financial institutions who come under the category of Company Act, they will be allowed as a qualified institutional buyers. Okay. मेंटोस नहीं मिल रहा है मार्केट में. Okay, don't worry. I will be your mentors. All of you, I am in the mentors. So stay with me. I will be worked as a mentors. दिमाग की बत्ती में जला के रखूंगा. Don't worry. So public financial institutions, scheduled commercial banks, mutual funds. Mutual funds we have to discuss in detail. So that's why I'm not explaining here, but I will explain you later. Foreign institutional investors registered with SEBI. FIIs, right? FIIs need to be, again, they need to be discussed in detail. Just for right now, foreign institutional investors means those people who are a foreign country and they are interested to invest their money in India. First, they must have to register with Securities Exchange Board of India, and then they have to make a request to allow us being as a qualified institutional buyers. So SEBI will allow you under this clause, they will allow you as a foreign institutional investors, right? Multilateral and bilateral development financial institutions. An example of multilateral development financial institution, an example, multilateral or bilateral financial institution, an example, SBI. SBI is a multilateral financial institution. कैसे? How? Yes. World Bank is a multilateral financial institution. AIIB, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, Asian Development Banks. All these are example of what? All these example of SBI. My dear Shubham, SBI will come here, na, in this category. SBI will come under this category, scheduled commercial banks. Don't go by this key SBI Life, SBI Health Insurance, SBI blah blah blah. So SBI is a group. SBI credit cards, SBI Insurance, SBI Bank. So SBI is a group, and that group have multiple businesses involved in range of the product like credit card, insurance, banking. So SBI is a group, but here what they want to say that is multilateral and bilateral developmental financial institutions, being an institution which is established with consent of two governments or multiple governments, right? For example, two state Afghanistan and Pakistan is going to establish a financial institutions to help the terrorists to do their businesses and all financing and all, then that will be the bilateral development terrorist development institution, right? So bilateral, that means, multilateral means multiple countries are involved into create a development fund. Yes. Multilateral. What is venture capital? Venture capital fund. What is venture capital fund? Have you seen Dark Knights? Dark Knights of Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight. So in that movie, there was a, means in the Gotham City there are the multiple gangsters who are doing all these illegal activities, and they are putting all their money to one person. His name was Lau. Lau मतलब हिंदी वाला Lau नहीं. His name was Lau. He is from Hong Kong, China, and he ran away from there because Batman and the Gotham police have started their activities and they are trying to catch each and every criminal in the city. So Lau, he was an investor. Why? Because all gangsters, whatever the money they are able to generate through all illegal activities, they don't know how to multiply that money. So that's why they give their money to particular investor, and that investor is going to put that money in the different places to make more money, right? To more money. So similarly, when you are a big businessman and you are creating lot of wealth and you want some person or agency which can make your money further by investing in the other firms. So it is a kind of venture capital. Right. So there are the venture capital firms who are specialized in this business. What they will do, they will come to you and they will say that, sir, you are having a huge amount of wealth. We can multiply it. You can put your money with us and we will invest it. Same work is done by bank also. Same work is done by bank also, but bank will do for each and every common people also. But venture capital are for those people specifically. They do this work for high wealth individuals or the group of people or group of companies, right? So this is the venture capital. So that venture capital, not all venture capital, only venture capital registered with SEBI. So SEBI is not going to allow all venture capital. Otherwise, what will happen? If SEBI is going to allow all venture capital, then whatever the drug cartels are work and active in Pakistan and Afghanistan, right? They are also making huge amount of money. They are making huge amount of money, and through that money they want to multiply so that they can fund the other illegal activities. So for that they can put their money to the venture capital. So our SBI must, sorry, this SEBI must have to check where money is rooted in the venture capital, from where money is being rooted. Venture capital is going to invest the money in your capital market, right? But it is very important to know that money should not be, money laundering should not be there, and money is coming from the path clean path. So that's why the reason is to be define the qualified institutional buyers. All institutional buyers are not allowed. Only qualified institutional buyers are being allowed. So under this category, any venture capital from whom? Any venture capitalists from the Pakistan or all those kind of the countries, they are not being allowed. They are venture capitalists, but they are not being allowed. Okay. Venture fund, two companies. Yes, the money that Joker burned. Heath Ledger, mind-blowing acting in his last movie. Okay, so fine. Come back to here. Foreign venture capital investors registered with SEBI. Right, venture capital funds registered with SEBI. That means Indian venture capitalists and foreign venture capitalists are also being allowed, but they must be registered with SEBI. State industrial development corporations. Right. So state also raise their developmental corporations. Through that they raise the fund, right, to help the developmental activities. They are also being allowed to participate in this activity. Insurance companies with the Insurance Regulatory Development Authority of India. So insurance companies are also being allowed. Provident fund and pension fund. Can anyone tell me the main difference between the provident fund and the pension fund? Can anybody tell me the difference between provident fund and pension fund? अच्छा, provident fund is employer plus employee and pension fund उसमें कौन होता है? No, it's not necessary. Provident by the government can be both, for both. For example, recently Rajasthan government has decided to do away with the NPS. They are going back to that kind of the pension services they was providing before the NPS. See, a working person, pension funds are basically established for the purpose of retirement related planning. So when you are putting the money in the retirement related planning or retirement related funds, that is what that come under the category of pension funds. Whereas the provident fund, right? Provident fund have more diversified thing. As a person, you started working at the age of 22, right? At the age of 22, you want some money at the time of 32 or 30 or 34, when you are planning to get settled in your life. At that point of time, you want some money, so you can go for provident funds. They can give you certain things ki, okay, these are the plans, here you can fund it. Whereas you have started working at whatever the age, 22, 28, 34, and at the age of 60 or 55, you need some funds so that the rest of the life you can spend, means rest of the life you can uh, happily live without any need of doing a work. Then you will go for what? Pension funds. So the range of the fund, provident fund, and the pension fund, though they are having the main objective, both have the similar objective. Objective is to provide social security, right? But pension funds are basically focused on what? When you are going to finally retire and you do not have an ability to do the work, by that time you need a fund, so for that purpose you are going to do the investments. So generally both are having the long term investments, right? Long term investments, pension fund and provident fund. But generally pension funds are very long term funds, 10, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years kind of the things are being there, right? So there is not too much difference, but the objective, stated objective, to provide you the social security in the present context as well as in the future. Both you are looking at the provident fund. Similarly, the pension fund, they are more and more focused for your retirement time. So that's why they are defined as a pension funds, right? Clear? Surya, I hope. So by this discussion, we have started our discussion regarding what? We have started our discussion on capital market, and I told you in the capital market there is a equity and debt. For equity, we can go for primary and secondary. Similarly, for here, primary and secondary. So till then now, the equity market and primary market I have entirely thoroughly covered. Now we have one option: go to the secondary market for the equity, but it is not going to be the right choice. The right choice is we have to go to the debt market and understand the nature of primary debt market, then it is going to be little bit easier to understand both secondary market, right? So in that way, today I'm going to wind it up here. In the next class I will start the nature of debt, means through what ways you can raise the debt from the capital market as a primary market. Fine. So I hope things are getting clear and coherent, what you have understanding about the capital market before starting these lectures and now doing these lectures. I hope they are informative. But again, what I believe that there is always a scope of what to making things better. So if you have anything or have any doubt in your mind or whatever, you will come go through this thing, right? Let me know. And one personal thing I just want to share with you, when I started these classes, I was not very involved with you apart from the classes. But what I feel that I have to spend more time for you, right? So not making any means kind of the announcement right now, but first I will do this thing on the trial basis, then I will announce what I am going to do. What is in my mind is I want to more actively involve with you for your doubt clearing and all these things. So this is what I am planning. So if things are going to be proper, by the time of notification I will announce, and my objective is to give you more time and space so that I can clarify, especially for your doubts. And one thing I have in my mind is sometimes you do ask the question, so if I'll send a voice note, right, is the voice note is sufficient, or I'm also looking one means I'm trying one trial version of a particular software, means application, and if it is going to work, then like what annotations I'm doing here right now, plus in the side the image is coming like this, similarly I can do on the annotation on my iPad, and I'll share that video files with you. You can watch that video. So this is what I'm planning. So under the draft it is going on there, because see, after making a commitment you have to fulfill it, and students are very demanding, right? Students are very demanding, because I was student and I was also very demanding with my teacher, so I understand this thing. So I'm working on it. I hope by 28th I will come with this announcement for that draft kind of the thing which I'm working on it. Okay. If possible, take extra sessions to cover the important descriptive chapter. Descriptive तो करेंगे, descriptive तो है ही है. Sir, is there any chance that syllabus get changed? My fingers also crossed. Means I'm having anxiety. I'm having anxiety, and there is some rumors they are going to make some changes in the syllabus. That's why I'm not making any announcement. But yes, there is a rumor they are going to make certain changes in the syllabus. Sir, I'm going to purchase your course. मटेरियल प्रिंट का इशू क्लियर करना है बस. मटेरियल प्रिंट के लिए क्यों परेशान हो रहे हो? डोंट नो नीड टू वरी. मींस प्रिंटेड मटेरियल मैं सही बता रहा हूँ, इतना मटेरियल हो जाएगा कि आप पढ़ नहीं पाओगे, राइट? और आई हैव सीन द पीपल हु केम टू दिल्ली with limited number of books. Within a year they have cleared. I'll give you the example of one girl. Her name is Ananya Das. You can search on the internet Ananya Das. I think she's from 2012 or 2014, 2013 or 14. Ananya Das. She came uh, at fourth year. She was in fourth year. She came to the coaching in its fourth year. She started preparation in his fourth year. Semester, I think. Seventh semester, yes, seventh or eighth semester. She started preparation. Now, UPSC prelims is going to happen on June 5th. Right? UPSC is going to conduct this year on June 5th, 2022. They are going to conduct the prelims exam. So she came to coaching in 2000. Just given an example, in 2021, somewhere around September, July, September. Right? She prepared. She has given the exam in 2022, first prelims and mains. Right? And she got under 10 rank. So they are the people, they prepared only for what? They prepared only for hardly 8 to 10 months and they cracked the civil services exam. Where are the people like Tina Dabi? Since class 12th, she was preparing for the UPSC. She was preparing for the UPSC. She has mentioned कि since the means my family is having this civil servants, so I have started my preparation even from class 12th. And her sister is also now an IS officer, right? So it is always like ki what, how clarity do you have in your mind? Yes, if you feel that ki no, it is not possible for me, it is not possible for me without reading the hard copies, it is not possible for me, then it's fine, you can go for this printing of the thing. But if it is like कि, okay, I can manage, that is not a big deal, then you should not be rigid कि okay, जब तक वो नहीं होगा तब तक हम नहीं करेंगे, ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए. If you feel that कि okay, it's going to work, you should not delay, you should do it. Finally, it's my personal opinion. It's not like that कि I'm trying to influence you to take decision and take the admission. It's nothing like that, just giving as an advice. Descriptive English I will discuss with Ashok sir. Don't worry. Sir, I'm going to purchase. Okay, Vikalps. Any plan for GA? Yes, having few things in my mind. I have this thing in my mind. Don't worry. Ananya Das was from engineering background and she took political science as an optional. So she was not having this. Tina Dabi was having this such kind of the optional, but Ananya Das, she was an engineer. This question I will take tomorrow. I'll definitely let you know, Deepak. Remind me tomorrow. I will discuss this question with you. I think there is some issue here right now. Okay then. Good night. I'll discuss rest of the thing tomorrow, and I will take the Deepak's question tomorrow also. Okay. Just remind me, Deepak. I will take your question. So thank you very much. Good night.